You don't cinch any of these down tight. So you want it right essentially in the center. Our first one is control point 2. The Archaeological Field School is a 6-credit course taught through the Sewanee Environmental Institute. We are working on a rock shelter site that shows specialized use literally for about 9,000 years. We have different activities that were being conducted here. The primary activity appears to be collecting plant materials, especially nuts. To learn about the material culture and how it all fits together, we have to take it apart. So the challenge is, well, how do you document it in such a way that you can put it all back together in your analysis and interpretation?
Elevation is 97.583.
We take detailed measurements using a laser total station. We dig within 10 or 5 centimeter levels depending on what we're excavating. And those layers essentially help us tell time and help us see environmental changes at the site, as well as changes in behavior, changes in the way that the sites were used. Most of the artifacts that we find have to do with making of stone tools, of processing plant materials. They were making knives and what we call projectile points, but mostly what we find are stone tools because they preserve so well. So these are anywhere from 8,000 to 9,000 years old.
We might have found an intentionally prepared surface that dates probably to the early Archaic period. I only know of one cave in America where they have an intentionally prepared surface, and it's in Texas. So if it is, that's really neat.
Mostly over here we're looking for soil changes instead of artifacts so much. This is kind of a test because it's farther away from the rest of the shelter. So you kind of work on units like this piecemeal to get it all down about the same level at the same time so that you can watch if the soil changes color, because that can indicate a change in time period or some processes that go on in the sediments as they transform into soil.
I think it's this one. So I'll say 2.5 over 2, 7.5 wire.
Trick or treat.
We spend 6 weeks learning detailed field techniques as well as some of the basic ways of processing artifacts and spatial data in the lab. The domain, in many ways, is a wonderful place to teach archaeology and appreciation of the past. It really has literally over 9,000 years of history and prehistory packed into 13,000 acres. It's accessible. The university is really dedicated to preserving these sites. We live in a camp a mile from here. We learn about the local geology, the local plants, how it's all linked together, and literally could walk to the site every day to work on it.
When you're at a field school and you're actually sitting in an excavation, you're actually touching the past.
Digging in the dirt and getting bitten by bugs isn't so bad. Archaeology's cool.
The students get a real taste for what being on an archaeological site is really like, and collecting the data and thinking through not just their little square that they're excavating, but how it all fits in the wider site and the landscape as a whole.